Hello friends, we'll be discussing the concept of how an economic system works in this kind of presentation. Now, working of an economic system basically depends on the kind of economy that we are dealing with. We might have this three kind of economy, which may be a capitalist, a mixed, and a socio-economic. So basically, depending on the category or the kind of economic system that we have, we can define the working of that specific system. Now, how exactly we go about this is something that we'll be reading out. So we have jotted down certain points for you. Let's read it out and figure out how exactly, or rather what kind of working system are we dealing with right now. It is mentioned an economic system is an entire set of arrangements and institutions meant for meeting twofold objectives of a society. Those are increasing the availability of resources and ensuring the economic use. So, the twofold systems that we have in our society is basically related to 2 points. One, making things available for the society and then using them in an economic way. That means making the resources available for consumption. However, the consumption shouldn't be above average. It should be below average at almost all the times here. The reason being, these resources, as we know, are very scarce. So, these scarce resources, if used or consumed in an overlapped way, or probably in a way whereby you cannot control that consumption, you will end up using all these resources which are non-renewable, and hence they are known as scarce resources. So making these scarce resources or making these non-renewable resources available for the consumption, these consumptions should be made in an economic way, and hence that is the first category that we'll be dealing with when it comes to working of an economic system. It may be income. For you, income is restricted. Just if you have to take an example, you have a salary, you are a working person, your salary is restricted for a specific timing. That means for a month, if you're earning 50,000, that means for the next month you just have 50,000 until the next salary is credited. So 50,000 has to be divided into 30 days equally, so that you can figure out how much is left for your spending and how much is supposed to be paid out as an obligation. So out of 50,000, you might have 20,000 to be given for household expenses. Next 10,000 will be for certain EMIs. Next 10,000 will be for certain things that you might have kept it for contingency. So here all 40,000 is almost done. 10,000 you have kept it for your travel expenses. Now considering this, you have no savings here apart from the contingency part of saving that you have done. There is no investment here. Hence, you need to make sure that your consumption is restricted as and where it is possible. So if you restrict your consumption to a possible level whereby if 20,000 is done for household costs, if your traveling can be cut down from 10,000 to 5,000 a month, you still save a certain amount of money, and that can be invested into something which can reap you more money at a later stage. These, or rather this situation, can be called as a non-renewable resource, because income or salary, you being restricted to that job, is only restricted to a specification, or rather an X amount, which cannot be renewed unless and until you work twice, or rather you have two jobs on a simultaneous basis. Hence, this situation can be compared with the economic use of resources that we have right now. Let's go on to the next point here. It is well known that economic systems, as created by different societies, differ from each other. The economic system of even a given society keeps evolving and changing over time, partly on the account of ongoing efforts of the society to meet the problem of scarcity of resources. So it is also well known that economic systems, maybe we might have a lot of economic systems with us, these keep on changing. Why? First point, because of the constant changing environment that we have around and the efforts that we put to match up to the pace of this changing environment. And second thing would be the availability of the scarce resources. So basically all these non-renewable resources plays an important role in consumption of these resources. So if you consume it more, of course they're going to be completely exhausted, or you might not see them at a later stage after this. However, if you have a changing environment and you have to adapt to that situation, you need to find more alternative ways. So that's how economy and environment along with the scarce resources are related to it. You can put this example, or rather you can use this specific situations in different aspects of your life, right from your earning, right from your your saving, right from your expenses, everything that you do on day-to-day basis can be related to this part. So this is how the working of an economic system happens. Let's go on to next few points that we have mentioned here for your reference. Broadly speaking, types of economic systems are based upon per capita income, that is one thing, prioritization of individuals to spend their resources, and scarcity of both income and resources. As they have correctly said, prioritization is one of the major important aspect when it comes to economic system. Why do we have to prioritize? What is the reason why things have to be made in a chronological order or into a descending to ascending order? The reason being, you have a restricted resource, be it income, be it resource as well. Both these things are restricted, both these things are very limited to your usage. Now, considering that these things are very limited for your usage, considering this aspect itself, you need to prioritize things which are supposed to be done first. Now, let's see, for an example, if you're supposed to go for a trip, you understand that you have only 7 days. So every income, or rather whatever income you have, you need to spend that income so that you enjoy all those 7 days. You cannot have a situation whereby you have spent a lot of money on the first few days and then you don't have any money to spend for the rest of the days. It makes no sense for a vacation like that. So you need to manage your expenses in such a way that you can select a specific destination which falls within your budget. Now, after the budget has been considered, you need to first go ahead and which are the destinations that you need to select. One is that in those destinations, which are the available resources, or rather which are the available stay that you can afford, after you have segregated all the expenses of all the peoples that will be traveling with you. So every other person who will be traveling with you, if they're dependent on you, then you have to take care of those expenses as well. So considering all these things, you have to plan a trip in a very efficient manner. That's when you will be able to save your resources. That's when you'll be able to fulfill all those dreams together, and you will be able to enjoy the trip as well with sufficient amount of money at your disposal. Now, considering this thing, we'll go on to the next part. The best possible solution to these three potential problems is the basis of a successful economic system. So, what do they mean is, the best possible system, or rather the best possible solution for all these problems, is if we have a basic, or rather the best possible economic system. So if you start saving at an early age, you will have a lot of money to invest, or rather a lot of money at your disposal in kind of contingency. But you start saving at a later stage where you already have a lot of liabilities, you might not be able to go ahead and save that much of money as you could have earlier. So the best way to do things is set up an economic system just right when you find the need of it at your disposal right now. Apart from that, we have few more points, which are precedence set by society. Now, precedence is basically something which is predetermined, something which has been already going on since ages. So society has made certain customs, society has made certain rules, regulations that has to be followed. These are precedents. The reason being, these are something which has been already going on since ages, tried and tested, we can call it like that. It's individual and the government for the attainment of resource mobility, and individual freedom is a fundamental to the right of the choice of system for any society. So basically, when these precedents of the society come into picture, you have like choice of freedom, or rather you have choice for consumption, you have choice to do whatever you want to. That's the democracy that we are talking about. But considering all these things, you cannot take the scarce resources in your own hands and make use of them, because every other person who exists in this economy has equal rights on those resources. So that's what you need to think about. There are three different types of economic system. So basically we'll be dealing with three different kinds of economic system in this whole syllabus right now. The first will be capitalist economy, second will be socialist economy, and third will be a mixed economy. We'll be understanding all these three concepts, their features, their merits and demerits in depth in the upcoming videos, and we'll be understanding what each of this economy means for us and how exactly they are related to a country like India, or rather an Indian economy basically. So we'll be understanding all these details in depth in our upcoming videos. So this is all what we had to understand when it comes to working of an economic system here. Thank you.